Good evening from the Channel's newsroom in London. The former chief executive of the French telecoms group Orange has been sentenced to 12 months in prison for moral harassment that prompted a spate of suicides during a restructuring at the company in the late 2000s. Additionally, Orange, which was called France Telecom at the time, was ordered by a Paris court to pay €3.5 million in fines and damages to scores of families and employees in a landmark ruling. The trial focused on 39 cases between 2006 and 2009. This involved 19 suicides, 12 suicide attempts and 8 cases of serious depression.
Nous sommes là dans un domaine qui est les méthodes de management qui étaient en quelque sorte en dehors de la régulation et du droit. Avec cette décision, on comprend enfin de quelle manière on doit gérer le personnel des entreprises et c'est un gage finalement que les errements de l'affaire France Télécom ne se reproduiront plus.
Thousands of protests have continued across several cities in India, defying the government's sweeping controls on demonstrations following deadly countrywide civil unrest. During the past week, at least 7 people have been killed during violent clashes with police. At the centre of the discontent is a new Citizenship Amendment Act, a law which promises to fast-track citizenship for non-Muslim religious minorities. Critics fear the law undermines India's secular constitution and say faith should not be the basis of citizenship. A UK-based war monitor claimed that at least 72 people have been killed in Syria in the last 24 hours from regional airstrikes. The data from the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights comes as this footage was released online of a young girl trapped under a collapsed wall and debris being rescued in the town of Talmadik in the northwest of the country. The region, including Idlib, is the last significant swathe of Syrian territory still in insurgents' hands after 8.5 years of war. China's President Xi Jinping has warned against external interference in Macau's politics during a ceremony marking the 20th anniversary of the country's handover to Beijing from Portugal.
处理这两个特别行政区的事务，完全是中国内政，用不着任何外部势力指手画脚。
His comments come after months of disruptive protests in Hong Kong. Just after his speech, a few dozen people in the central business district staged a protest.
China has been always flexing its financial muscles overseas, in Africa, in Sri Lanka, in Solomon Islands, in everywhere in the world. They are basically interfering in everywhere's internal affairs. And now when other countries want to say something on their behalf about about their interest in China, in Hong Kong, in Macau, or in Taiwan, then they say it's foreign interference. It is, I mean, a very, very blatant double standard here.
Demonstrations initially opposed a controversial extradition bill, but have since transformed into a wider movement calling for further autonomy from Beijing. UK lawmakers have approved Prime Minister Boris Johnson's plans for the country to leave the EU on the 31st of January. The Withdrawal Agreement Bill has ruled out an extension of the transition period, during which the UK is out of the EU, but follows many of its rules past 2020.
The ayes to the right were 358. The noes to the left were 234. So the ayes have it, the ayes have it.
Andrew Bailey has been appointed the next governor of the Bank of England. Bailey previously held a position at the bank for 30 years, where he was central to efforts to shore up the British banking system during the global financial crisis. He will take over from Mark Carney, who steps down in March next year. And finally, an eco-friendly alternative to tackling the world's plastic pollution problem. A young Vietnamese entrepreneur has converted hollow grass into reusable, biodegradable straws. Tran Minh Tien uses grass stems that grow near his village on the banks of the Mekong River Delta to produce zero-waste drinking straws. Vietnam is the 4th largest contributor to marine plastic pollution globally. The grass stems are cut to 8-inch lengths before they're baked in an oven and left to harden in the sun for up to 3 days. Tien claims the finished products are durable, produce zero waste and can last up to 6 months. And that's your international news around the world in 5.